Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. According to my research, the Forbidden Guards are metal automaton puppets. Luo Feng muttered. Even though they are just puppets, they are extremely advanced and are unaffected by soul attacks. Normally it's very hard to actually destroy their core within. Master. Heavy Arrow looked at the huge fiery red centipede in the stand. Communicating mentally, it's quite impossible to destroy it and soul attacks are ineffective. Even though its energy core is very sturdy and hard to disrupt, we have only one choice, and that's to shake it enough to destroy its core within. I know. Luo Feng nodded, his eyes fixed on the guard. Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow watched the centipede. The huge centipede gazed down at them almost like a lion or tiger glaring at shivering rabbits, like it was mocking them. Howl! An ear-piercing cackle resounded from its throat. The sound itself rippled strongly throughout at light speed towards Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow. This caused their brains to shake from within. When Luo Feng awoke from the shock, the centipede had already vanished from its spot and appeared above them. The huge body was almost like a cloud that covered them from above, crushing downwards. The blur of claws along surrounded and began to attack the two of them. Tear! Tens of claws were aiming at them, and every one of these were tens of kilometers long. They were thin, sharp and long blades with 9 forks each. Each blade was taller than Earth's tallest mountains came slashing at them. They rotated like a meat grinder, the universe space was easily torn apart. Humph! Luo Feng wielded his blood shadow blade and snorted coldly as he rushed into the sky and unleashed his blade work, heading straight towards the huge body. A silver river slash appeared. Rumble! One of the claws clashed with his blade with a loud clang, being knocked aside as the surrounding other claws rushed madly at him. It's incredibly sturdy. Even my blade cannot break out of this. Luo Feng looked at the surrounding claws, his expression changing. He had initially wanted to attack the body of the centipede immediately. Only this had the highest possibility of shaking and disrupting its energy core within. However, with the claws surrounding it, he had no way to even touch the body. He flapped his wings, dodging over and over before the claws. They were thick and huge, hence Luo Feng could easily dodge and evade them. Break! Not too far away, Heavy Arrow howled. Luo Feng turned to look. Heavy Arrow's energy had soared as he too was surrounded by tens of claws. He had unleashed his amplification technique, and wielded his ancient bow, drawing and shooting his arrows. Just the backlash from the bow alone caused the space around to become stream particles. The arrow formed a demonic illusion, and were incredibly condensed with energy, almost like two different shots. As the arrow shot out, space split apart. Heavy Arrow Emperor's dual arrow. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. It was one arrow, but it gave off the effect of two. This wasn't the Space Law's illusion technique, but rather the use of his powerful undying energy with law movement. The bow technique he used made it seem like two real arrows were shot out. Back then, when Heavy Arrow was chased by Luo Feng, he didn't even have enough strength to unleash this move. Rumble! The two arrows clashed hard against the many claws, knocking them aside. Rumble! The final arrow hit the stomach portion of the centipede. This was the full power of an Emperor Limit warrior. Tear! The first arrow forcefully tore at the stomach portion, revealing a wound as the second pierced right through. A huge cavity was left there as the centipede cringed. The claws that surrounded Luo Feng stopped their attacks too and withdrew. That powerful! Luo Feng was shocked. Be careful, master. Heavy Arrow flashed to beside him, communicating, the Forbidden Guards have powerful defenses. Even invincible emperors have no way to tear through its body. From what I estimate, this one seems to have a weaker stomach portion, it may have other trump cards hidden. Luo Feng was shocked. The two of them swiftly flashed, and created distance between them and the centipede. It couldn't be helped, they were in a forbidden space, and it was impossible to escape. Luo Feng carefully examined the twitching centipede. Lightning began to sprout from its torn-up stomach region. Another head forcefully sprouted from the stomach hole. As it tore open, the metal began to form a whole other centipede. Stunned. One centipede became two. Cackle. Cackle. The two howled and flew at them. One became two. Don't tell me these two will become four. Luo Feng flapped his wings and flew far away. Cackle. One centipede pierced through the skies, its countless claws climbing in mid-air as the space around it shook violently. It chased Luo Feng, and its speed was pretty fast. However, with Luo Feng dodging with his max speed, even Heavy Arrow was far from his speed. This centipede could never catch up with him. On the other end, another centipede was rushing at Heavy Arrow. Heavy Arrow once again shot an arrow at it. Rumble. His powerful attack shot out. The space about tore apart, as the attack knocked away the claws. The final vibrations hit the centipede's stomach, Kai. Its stomach was pierced through. Heavy Arrow rushed angrily straight at the hole, countless claws madly slashed at him to stop him. But he had long prepared another arrow, easily knocking away all the claws as he took the chance to try and pierce into the body. Just as he reached the hole, and as about to rush in, a gold silhouette shot out from the hole, fast as lightning. Even Heavy Arrow had no way to dodge. Dang! It hit directly on his body and the ancient clock armor, knocking him far away. As he was flying backwards, he shot another arrow to break through the other claws obstructing him. Howl! An ear-piercing sound resounded throughout the space, shaking the entire desert. The two huge centipedes stopped and landed on the ground. Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow gathered. What's going on? Why is it so hard? Luo Feng frowned. Heavy Arrow looked at the two, especially the one with the hole in its stomach. It was twitching there with the gold silhouette that popped out before, almost like something was about to reveal itself. Master, he said, the true danger of Star Tower is the hundreds of thousands of emperors. As for its own dangers, even though there are many, it shouldn't be so hard for an emperor limit like me. They are usually insufficient for me to burn my undying body. This time, however, there's something wrong. That centipede with a hole in its head kept twitching at its stomach. Some gold things seemed to be climbing out. From what I know, there's only one reason why it's so troublesome. He said. Speak. Luo Feng felt something was amiss. Heavy Arrow was an emperor limit. If a forbidden guard had to force him to burn part of his undying body, then wouldn't all the pinnacle and high emperors be dead? In truth, Star Tower couldn't be that dangerous. If a battlefield was that dangerous, why would so many emperors come? Star Tower is usually very calm, unless a sealed star is about to release. Heavy Arrow's eyes gleamed with fire. A sealed star is about to release. Luo Feng was stunned. After we settle this guard, you can check with your friends in the virtual universe to see if those in Star Tower have encountered dangers too. Heavy Arrow said. If a large group has encountered trouble, then a sealed star may possibly be released soon. A huge fight is about to occur here. Luo Feng held his breath. Defeating an emperor was easy, sealing was hard and killing was even harder. And the sealed star is a sealing treasure. As long as one was slightly stronger than the enemy, he could use the sealed star to seal his enemy within. The enemy would never be able to escape as its material was incredibly special. Once trapped within, even a knight wouldn't be able to forcefully break out. Of course, it would be much more troublesome to seal a knight. However, it was still a true treasure, that was enough to make countless warriors from trillions of races go mad for. There were already many gathered here, while others may rush over. One could only imagine how brutal the bloodshed would be for the sealed stars. Every one of them would invite a huge massacre. Master, you just entered Star Tower and something like this is happening. Looks like you are fated to get the sealed star. Heavy Arrow said. In a slave's heart, his master was the most important thing in the universe. The centipede with a hole in its stomach had its hole enlarged as a gold-armored creature climbed out. It was a 20-meter-long gold-armored scorpion, and its tail was sharp and bent. Heavy Arrow squinted at it. It was this tail that attacked him earlier. The two huge centipedes were each hundreds of kilometers in length. This gold-armored scorpion, however, was only 20 meters long. It was almost like an ant compared to the huge mountains. It gently waved its tail, causing explosions in the space around it. Tears could be seen as its dark blood-red eyes stared hard at Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow. Howl! It let out an ear-piercing howl. Cackle! Cackle! The two huge centipedes obeyed it, lying down respectfully as the scorpion climbed on it, never taking its eyes off Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow. Luo Feng stared back. Master, this gold-armored creature is very strong. I only exchanged a quick blow with it earlier. Heavy Arrow said, even though it doesn't know any laws, its pure attack is still slightly stronger than a pinnacle emperor, and its tail should be its strongest offensive weapon. Luo Feng stared at the scorpion and replied, have you found its weak point? No. Heavy Arrow said, when I fought with the huge guard earlier, I discovered its body regions were weaker, and my arrows could pierce right through. However, it could also be, because it was hiding this gold-armored creature within, hence it made its stomach region easier to break out of. As for this creature, its defense is much stronger, and dealing with it will be troublesome. It's not wise to butt heads with it. If we drag out this fight, we may discover the pathway out of this forbidden space, then we can swiftly leave. The guards have no way to leave their own space. Luo Feng stared carefully. He had the feeling that even though the scorpion was staring at the two of them, it seemed more focused on him, and not the stronger Heavy Arrow. Howl! The creature suddenly howled. Rumble! Rumble! In the distance, the two centipedes lying down suddenly moved, both rushing at Heavy Arrow. Of course, because of their size, and Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow were both close by, it seemed like both of them were simply attacking both of them. Luo Feng immediately dodged, while Heavy Arrow went another direction. Fight it out with the guards, using flame god crystals. Burning undying body. It wasn't worth it at all. Drag the battle out. Drag it till they discovered a pathway out. Cackle. Cackle. The two huge centipedes called out, both rushing at Heavy Arrow, one on each side. With their huge form, it was almost like two red clouds descending on him, along with the blur of 10 kilometers long claws. It was like a blade forest which was engulfing Heavy Arrow. An ancient clock appeared on his body. He was an emperor limit with an undying body, with the ancient clock protecting him. Even the strongest flame god crystal explosion would hardly even make him lose 1% of his undying body. The two centipedes may seem powerful and capable of suppressing him, but in truth, it was hard to harm even a hair of him. Weird. Luo Feng was stunned as he noticed the two centipedes attack Heavy Arrow. Howl. The gold-armored scorpion, which was sitting in the distance, finally made its move. It waved its tail like a gold lightning bolt, piercing at Luo Feng. Let's see just how strong this scorpion is. Luo Feng was confident in his defense, plus the scorpion wasn't as huge as the centipedes. Being trapped by them was troublesome. Against this scorpion, however, with just 20 m in size, Luo Feng could easily dodge and escape. The gold scorpion was a gold beam of light, and Luo Feng was a silver beam of light. The two of them instantly clashed. Rumble. A resplendent silver slash clashed with its claw, and the even fast tail of the scorpion formed a gold beam of light, piercing at the unstable Luo Feng, who was flying backwards from the clash. Luo Feng, however, reacted fast enough, waving his wing in front. The sharp tail clashed with the Showu wings. This force, that had knocked away an emperor limit earlier, caused Luo Feng to be knocked back in a silver beam of light. As for the scorpion, it had hit an immovable wall. The undamaged wings created a huge force back at it. It caused the scorpion to roll backwards for a while. Heavy Arrow is right. He flapped his wings to stop in mid-air, gazing at the scorpion. The tail is indeed powerful. Against such an automaton puppet, the Famo poison is useless. Then receive another attack. Luo Feng wielded his blood shadow blade and instantly became a beam of light rushing forward. Howl! The scorpion rushed at him too, force against force, it had no fear. Luo Feng raised his blade. The scorpion used its pincers to defend. Luo Feng's right wing flapped hard as he unleashed Moon Policy. One had to know that this pinnacle technique was created for wing usage, and later on adapted for the blade. The scorpion, which was defending against his blade, was suddenly hit by the silver wing and thrown off balance. As the distance between them was too close, Luo Feng had unleashed it when they had gotten extremely close. The edges of the wing were incredibly sharp, and as a true treasure, its sharpness exceeded any blade. The space around was torn apart almost as though an invincible god had appeared to attack. A silver light followed the tear and slashed at the scorpion's body. As it touched, it became the special space energy of the Showu wings that pierced inwards. Even an undying facing this energy would have his body destroyed somewhat. The defense of the scorpion too naturally weakened. A weird sound, almost like a guillotine slamming into a steel bar, could be heard, as the scorpion rolled backwards. The gold armor seemed undamaged, however there was definitely damage within. The scorpion, however, continued to roll into the distant desert until it stopped, lifeless. Cackle. Cackle. The distant huge centipedes immediately flew over. They didn't care about Heavy Arrow anymore. One of which opened its large mouth and swallowed the metal of the scorpion, after which it glanced at Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow before burrowing into the sand. Both centipedes burrowed deep into the sand and calm followed after. Heavy Arrow flew over and landed beside Luo Feng. It was that easy. Luo Feng frowned. Heavy Arrow, who had been watching his fight, said, "Master, I only clashed slightly with its tail earlier. As for his body's defenses, I wasn't clear about it. Your attack earlier did cause damage to its energy core within. It was after all much smaller, and the force of the attack could easily reach its core." Hearing his explanation, Luo Feng agreed. Automaton puppets were indeed that way. Destroying their bodies was tough. Normally the only way to deal with them was to destroy their core within. However, he still felt something amiss. Heavy Arrow has never encountered such troublesome guards after so many years in here. It's only my first time, and it's my first forbidden space, yet this happened. Also, the gold scorpion was drawn out by Heavy Arrow. Yet, it chose not to deal with him but rushed at me instead. And I can feel the gazes of both centipedes and the scorpion have emotions. They were filled with killing intent, and were trying to kill me. Did my coming here arouse their defenses? He frowned, pondering according to the situation before. Even though he could feel the strong calling from the tower, he was unable to become its master. It was completely different form, the soldier, general and king armor. Also, getting a pinnacle treasure like the Star Tower couldn't be that simple. The closer I am to victory, the more careful I have to be. The Star Tower is reacting differently to me. It can mean two things. One is that it's friendly with me, another is that it truly wants to kill me. Luo Feng thought. If I was the creator of the tower, and I left this powerful tool here, I wouldn't casually hand it over easily to the later generations, especially by simply relying on luck. Not possible, even to the most pinnacle of beings in the universe. The Star Tower is still an incredibly huge treasure. Luo Feng's soul could be excited, happy and gleeful, but he always maintained his calm. Knowing oneself. Laughing when it was the time, being excited, nervous, angry as needed. Everything was simply being himself, yet it didn't mean that he would lose himself to these emotions, or truly believe that his luck was heavenly, easily getting such a huge treasure like the Star Tower. If he was like that, he would very likely lose his life. I have a feeling. Star Tower may be the place where I die. Luo Feng gazed about the desert forbidden space. The gold-armored scorpion and centipedes had emotions in their eyes. They were filled with killing intent that made Luo Feng shudder. He wasn't fearful of the guards, rather, of the entire tower. The Star Tower had a master before, and its master may very likely be the creator of the nameless manual. I was lucky in attaining the manual. Don't tell me that the tower is specially used to deal with lucky people like me who got the manual unexpectedly. Luo Feng thought. Success means I'll live. Failure means death. Many thoughts flashed within his mind. Master, master, I've discovered the pathway. Heavy Arrow shouted, waking Luo Feng from his thoughts. Our pathway. Luo Feng looked over. Master, here. Heavy Arrow walked ahead. They quickly reached far away. There in the center of the desert, there was a whirlpool, and within the darkness, there was starlight. This is the pathway. I've been through such pathways many times. Heavy Arrow said. Luo Feng nodded. Let's go. They stepped straight into the whirlpool. The moment they stepped through, they landed on a stone surface, leaving the desert forbidden space. This is. Luo Feng was shocked and looked around. Within the vast space, a rock bridge spiraled into the distance. But there were no beams supporting it, it simply floated there downwards. Master, this is the pathway. Heavy Arrow landed beside, respectfully pointing at the end of the bridge. There's nothing there, reaching the end of this passage leads to another forbidden space. What's below? Luo Feng gazed down at the void below the bridge. Can we fly down? Nothing will happen. Heavy Arrow smiled. Normally, if your luck is good, you'll see sealed stars along the pathway. However, the place they are in is very dangerous. There are formless barriers that stop warriors from getting close. If one forcefully gets close, he would most likely fall. I've seen many sealed stars about. If my luck was good, I'd see one every 1 or 2 years. If it was poor, maybe one every 1,000 years. Back then there were some other race emperors that got very excited from seeing them. They flew directly to grab them, but they were killed. See one every 1 to 2 years. Luo Feng gazed below. I think I've already seen it. Ah. Heavy Arrow was stunned. He looked down too and stared wide-eyed. Indeed. Luo Feng gazed below. Deep in the void, there was a star that was rolling. Its size was similar to a normal star. The energy it gave off was terrifying. It revolved there in a steady speed within the vast void. True treasure. Luo Feng said. Heavy Arrow said, we can only look at it. There are many sealed stars in Star Tower. Just those recorded are plenty, along with many others that haven't been found. It's a pity, unless the sealed stars fall off themselves, even the invincible universe masters of the 4 pinnacle races cannot forcefully grab them. Luo Feng continued forward. Another sealed star. Heavy Arrow walked along the stone bridge and exclaimed shocked. Luo Feng followed. In the depths of below the bridge, they would occasionally see a revolving sealed star in a different position. It maintained such speed for trillions of years, never stopping until it falls. Just as he walked along the bridge, he received a call request. He immediately sent a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe network to receive the call. Yang. Tian Chen Emperor. Luo Feng smiled shocked. This emperor was a human. He hadn't been in the Hong Alliance too long, but he had spoken to quite a few human emperors within. Many of them were either immersed in their own training, or too proud, or exploring secret regions, etc. Even though Luo Feng didn't get the chance to meet a lot of them, he had gathered most of their basic information. I'm at Star Tower. Through the army system, it showed me that you are nearby, hence I immediately messaged you. Tian Chen said. Ah. Luo Feng nodded. The army system compiled the locations of all the soldiers and broadcast them within the virtual universe system. Even in a special environment like the forbidden space where one could scan other spaces, they could still discover their allies. I've already contacted a few good friends, because I was attacked by the forbidden guards within the space. It's rare for them to be so troublesome. 3 of the friends I've contacted encountered the same. What about you? He asked. Ah, you too. I was attacked by the guards too. Luo Feng said. It's getting serious. Looks like the chances of a sealed star falling is very high. Tian Chen said. Yang, if a sealed star were to fall, the forbidden spaces within the tower will keep drawing the warriors closer together. This would naturally gather all the warriors to where the star would fall. Every time a sealed star falls, a huge massacre would occur. You have to be careful too. I'm entering my next space now. After ending the call with Tian Chen, Luo Feng received another 6 calls from allies that were close by. Any ally within a 1 billion kilometer area would be able to detect him. They all went through the same trouble and suspected the imminent fall of the sealed star. After talking to them, it seemed like the possibility was very high. A sealed star is really going to fall. Luo Feng was on alert now. Even though the sealed star was a true treasure, for Luo Feng, who had the space lock armband, the general armor, the king armor, the Showu wings and the ancient clock, he wouldn't simply lose his mind over the falling of a sealed star. With his perspective and the strong calling of the tower, his vision was much higher than others. A sealed star only falls once in a very long time. One is falling the moment I came here. Doesn't seem like a coincidence. Luo Feng was on alert, asking, Heavy Arrow, what happens when a sealed star falls? They are usually different, but there are still some similarities. The forbidden spaces within the tower would all naturally join, gathering all the warriors together, resulting in a final bloodbath. Heavy Arrow explained. Let's go. Luo Feng nodded, not speaking anymore as they quickly reached the end. Looking at the void below the bridge, he could make out the revolving sealed stars below. He kept Heavy Arrow in his world ring and stepped through alone into another forbidden space. This was an ocean world. The moment Luo Feng stepped through, the entrance disappeared and the silver-armored Luo Feng floated in the air above the ocean, looking about and searching for the pathway to the next space. Under normal circumstances, the pathways were very easy to find. It usually took up to 1 day max to find it. The waves began to churn violently, rumbling from within. An explosion occurred right after. An ear-piercing screech could be heard. A jade-blue snake-like creature with a head full of metal scales flew out of the ocean, revealing close to 2 kilometers of itself above the surface. Its lower half had limbs as its appearance caused the ocean to shake from within. Its gold eyes stared at the silver-winged and armored human. Another guard. Luo Feng muttered. The star seemed incredibly unfriendly against Luo Feng. From the first to the 9th space, every space had a guard appear, and their battle techniques and styles all had different levels of danger. The 7th space was the most dangerous one he encountered. A 1.2-meter short black metal gorilla wielded 2 huge hammers, and was incredibly fast and nimble. The smaller it was, the more nimble it was. The black gorilla was the fastest guard he had encountered in all 9 spaces. In terms of speed and dodging, it could keep up with Luo Feng. Its 2 hammers were more terrifying than Heavy Arrow's attacks. Heavy Arrow could only resort to being a shield. Unless he burnt his undying body, he had no way to fight back. It was the first time Luo Feng used his full strength with the Showu wings, defending against the hammers and dodging. It took over half an hour before the exit appeared. Only then did they escape the 7th space. When they escaped, the gorilla was still howling within. Luckily it's only a metal puppet, unable to burn its undying body. Luo Feng muttered. Madness, this guard, in terms of strength, has already exceeded an emperor limit, and was even close to an invincible emperor. If it was a true god, who is able to burn his undying body, just burning a little would raise its strength over 1,000 times. I would have no resistance whatsoever. Heavy Arrow was still reeling from the shock. After the 9th space, Luo Feng didn't get attacked by any more guards. Within the tower, they passed through the many forbidden spaces. 21st space. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged on a fireball, as the ball flew straight to the 21st exit. Asterisk 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 asterisk. This 21st space was a swampland, and 2 groups of other race undyings were floating in the skies above. One was from the automaton camp with 22 undyings, all at emperor level, and 2 of which were automaton people. 2 automaton emperors. The other group was the bug camp with 6 emperors. Their energy levels were however much higher. Among the 6, there was one that was an emperor limit puppet. This emperor limit puppet naturally represented that terrifying bug undying. The undying bug queens, every one of them was a terrifying force. I didn't expect to bump into them here. This will be troublesome. However, there's no need to fear. When the sealed star falls, our race's life-fall emperor will definitely appear. Our automaton race will team up. Would we need to fear the bug race? 2 similarly dressed automaton warriors in black armor exchanged glances. Beside them, the 20 other undyings obviously followed them. The automatons were few in numbers, and every emperor represented a terrifying automaton empire that was truly terrifying. Of course, under normal circumstances, they were still weaker than the bug undyings. The bug race didn't have such level markings of emperors. As long as a queen was undying, it would naturally be the most terrifying being beneath night level. Controlling an undying bug army, each combined attack, would make countless emperors shiver in fear. In the distance, a split in space occurred. A silver-armored and winged silhouette flew out and floated in mid-air. The automaton and bug camps were engaged in a deadlock. Both sides didn't seem to care much about the lone warrior that appeared. It's Blade River Emperor. It's the human Blade River Emperor. Ah, this is the one that chased Blood Beast Emperor away, and forced Heavy Arrow into a coma. Both sides quickly went on full alert. The reputation, an incident from before, made them not underestimate this human. This is. Seeing the two distance camps face off in mid-air in the 21st space, especially the powerful energies they emanated, Luo Feng was nervous. Luo Feng carefully examined the groups. One group was huge while the other had less undyings. The automaton side had two more prominent automaton warriors dressed in black armor, and the others crowded together. Their positions were obviously different. It's a pity that I don't know any of them. Even though Luo Feng had studied a lot on many warriors, he knew many of the emperors on Yangji continent. As for Star Tower, there were hundreds of thousands of emperors from other camps, and it wasn't easy to go through all of them. On the other side, Luo Feng turned to look. The group with lesser undyings, with a total of 6 emperors. However, from the deadlock, he could see from their gazes and the energies they emanated that this group was more powerful. It's him. Luo Feng stared at one of the 6 emperors. His energy was huge, and no weaker than Gold Kang and Heavy Arrow. His appearance was ugly, as he was 3 meter tall, covered in a layer of black. His face had 8 soft black horns that drooped down the side, his little eyes shot a cold gaze. He was from the Bae race, Skeleton Emperor. His reputation was huge within the entire 7th battlefield. However, he was renowned not because he was an emperor limit, and not even because he was from the Bae race, but rather because he was a soul slave. A slave that was controlled by a Bug-Can queen. His presence here meant that his master was also here. Bug Clan Queen. Luo Feng tensed up within. Nan Cheng. Nan Cheng was the name that Queen had reported before. Within the Bug Clan, there was no separation of class amongst undyings, no officials or emperors. That queen was naturally simply called Nan Cheng, with no emperor title. However, within the 7th battlefield, many warriors had gathered information on her because she was a Bug Clan queen. Bug Queen Nan Cheng, she controls quite a few emperor limits and pinnacles, among which the Bae race Skeleton Emperor is the one with the strongest defense. Hence she normally uses him to move about, while she and her army stay hidden within a world ring. Luo Feng thought. It's no wonder the automaton side is being pressured despite their strength. It was only then that Luo Feng truly felt that this was Star Tower, the highest and most dangerous place within the 7th battlefield. Finding one emperor limit on Yangji continent was extremely hard, and finding an emperor pinnacle proficient in soul attacks was very hard as well. However, in Star Tower, there were trillions of emperor pinnacles from all over. Even though there were less emperor limits or pinnacles proficient in soul attacks, there were still quite a few. And a few terrifying beings. Like Queen Nan Cheng, this level of being, because of her race, treasures and strength, she was close to an invincible emperor. However, compared to a true invincible emperor like Tru Yang, there was still quite a difference. Her level of being could be considered invincible below knight level. However, against a knight, she would have no resistance at all. It was easy to see the difference between her and Tru Yang. However, in the 7th battlefield, she was already the most pinnacle of beings. Tru Yang's level was rare even amongst the trillions of races. Those at his level were all looking for chances to break through to the knight level. They would hardly ever come to the outer region wars, mainly because they pose no challenge to them at all. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In mid-air, the automaton side and bug side floated, Luo Feng stood alone as the three faced off, all searching for the exit from the forbidden space. Luo Feng naturally didn't get too close to them. The two camps were both his enemies, why would he get close? You are Blade River Emperor. A hoarse voice resounded. Luo Feng turned to look. It was a larger-sized undying from the automaton camp, with a huge iron face and black mouth. From a human point of view, this was the face of a simple and honest person. He was smiling oddly at Luo Feng. Who are you? Luo Feng asked. I am Chen Han Emperor, a good brother of Purple Clock. He mocked. Purple Clock's brother. Luo Feng frowned at him. He had searched a lot about Purple Clock before, but he never picked up on this. However, they were both from the automaton camp. Hence, connections such as this were common. The other automaton emperors besides seemed chatty. Even though they were on alert, whether it was them or the Bug Clan side, they all had the right to look down on Luo Feng. In terms of absolute strength, they were much more powerful. Purple Clock's brother, do you have a problem? Luo Feng looked at him. Blade River Emperor. He snorted, quite arrogant, however you have to understand that this is Star Tower, not Yangji continent. Over here, especially here, whether it's against us or the bug race, you have no right at all to be arrogant. Ha ha. Laughter resounded from beside. The automaton camp burst out in laughter, the bug side watched on. Luo Feng frowned at the scene. He felt the animosity from the automaton camp, especially from this Chen Han Emperor. He seemed to be filled with killing intent. Back then Luo Feng had killed Purple Clock along with 13 other emperors from the automaton camp, using them as stepping stones. It was understandable that they were filled with contempt for him. I've never displayed any arrogance before the two camps. But you, this tiny little Chen Han Emperor, you dare get arrogant before me? Luo Feng mocked. Are you looking? Chen Han raged but suddenly stopped. In the distance, a huge silhouette appeared beside Luo Feng. It was the masked black skinny warrior, and his powerful energy was definitely comparable to the strongest warrior from both sides here. Heavy Arrow Emperor. It's Heavy Arrow. What powerful energy, he's in his peak form. The comatose Heavy Arrow has recovered his full strength so quickly. Both camps were completely shocked. Even though both sides were on alert before, they didn't bother too much with Luo Feng. Now however, they were on their toes. Even the warriors from the automaton camp, who were making fun of Luo Feng, before all stopped smiling, not daring to brag anymore. They felt threatened. Able to help recover Heavy Arrow to his perfect form, in such a short time required over hundreds of billions of mixed elements. Just the wealth alone showed how much of a threat Luo Feng was. And also, with Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow combined, they were a force not to be reckoned with. Chen Han, know your place. Luo Feng gazed coldly at him and looked away after. Master. Heavy Arrow stood behind him respectfully. Heavy Arrow, remember, don't reveal your ancient clock. The fact that you have it is my huge trump card. Luo Feng communicated mentally. Understood. Heavy Arrow replied. An emperor limit was terrifying. One with the ancient clock was even more terrifying. Just from how Purple Clock was incredibly powerful with it was proof enough. Also he was only a pinnacle emperor, who was able to kill 2 emperor limits with the clock. Now, Heavy Arrow was an emperor limit with the ancient clock. Humph. Luo Feng looked at the two sides. He was very clear, in the world of warriors, displaying strength appropriately was the way to win respect. If he remained low profile all the way, he would be bullied. Even the pinnacle emperor, Chen Han, was trying to stand above him. Suddenly, we found the exit. Exit. The two sides immediately flew into the distance. Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow flew forward too, the exit was closest to the bug camp side. Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow were closer than the automatons. The automaton camp was the furthest. The three powers flew towards the exit. Blade River Emperor, the automaton camp and the bug camp will head forward first. You should wait behind. Chen Han shouted at him. Luo Feng turned behind to look. Chen Hun was flying with his large group of emperors. His eyes gleeful, being disgraced earlier, however his words implied their different standings, that their camp was stronger and they should naturally leave first. Humph. Luo Feng turned away and continued heading forward. Blade River. Chen Hun's expression changed. He immediately raged and shouted angrily. Looking for death. Luo Feng turned fiercely. Heavy Arrow instantly attacked. He rushed straight at Chen Hun since their distance wasn't too huge. With one flying forward and another rushing back at him, they instantly connected. Heavy Arrow wielded an arc blade and it glowed with a purple light. Two flashes occurred and the blade slashed through Chen Hun's body. He was instantly cut into 3 parts. His eyes still originally gleeful, without burning your undying body, an emperor limit cannot kill me. Your action only starts a fight, and when the 2 automaton warriors make their move, you'll be dead. After which his eyes were filled with shock. The 2 arc blades were covered with the Famo poison, they completely entered his body and destroyed it from within. Chen Hun Emperor, dead. The bug side and automaton side all watched in shock, as Chen Hun's undying body crumbled. They couldn't imagine, how could a pinnacle emperor fall so easily? Heavy Arrow wielded the blades coldly and looked at the armor, weapons and treasure left behind, saying coldly, humiliating my master, you deserve to die. This video will end here.